What's going on, everyone? This is Be All In Sports Picks and Predictions, where we are always balling out. We are talking about some UFC 308. It's coming up tomorrow morning. I wanted to get this video out earlier, but I did not have time. So I'm going to fly through these picks here and give you a little bit of insight into each one and why I'm picking who I am. And then at the end, if I have time, I'm going to sprinkle in some of these parlays for you, let you know what I'm going to pick. We're going to start off with this first match. It's going to be a banger. Shera Magomedov versus Arman Petrosian. Sorry. Yeah, I think this is going to be a great match. I think this is going to end up being a stand-up battle. But when you look at the two, Petrosian, I do believe has the ability to get this to the ground if he so chooses. So I think that he has fought the higher level competition between these two. Magomedov is still a little new to the ranks, and to be quite honest with you, I haven't totally been impressed with him yet. A couple matches, but again, the one that I was impressed with him against, it was against a lower level fighter who was also making his debut in the UFC. So I don't know how much of that I'm going to put stock in that yet. But Petrosian, he has fought some top level competition. Gregory Rodriguez stands out above them all. To me, that was a war between those two. AJ Dobson, he has a win over him, unanimous decision win. Christian Leroy Duncan, also unanimous decision win there. So at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a stand-up war. Both of these men are very tough. Magomedov does have the movement, so I think it's going to be possibly a little bit difficult for Petrosian to land that shot on him. So I'm going to say this one is going to go the distance. Most of these guys' fights do go the distance, so no big surprise there. But I'm going to go Petrosian by decision on this one. And Actually, I think it's going to be a split decision just because of the location of this fight. Since we are in the United Arab Emirates, I think there's going to be a little judge shifting there, and I would not absolutely be surprised at all if this goes Magomedov's way if it's a decision. But I am going to stick with my pick. Arman Petrosian is the pick on this one. We'll move on to our next fight. Okay, in this next fight, we have Lerone Murphy taking on Dan 50K Ige. If you remember right, Dan Ige stepped in on hours' notice in his last matchup against Diego Lopez and did go the distance with him. I think that's great. I think it's great that he was able to step up on that short of notice and provide a quality fight against a very, very tough opponent. I don't think that's going to be the case in this one. Both men have had plenty of time to prepare for this match. Lerone Murphy, to me, I think he's going to have a speed advantage in this one. I think he's going to have a strength advantage in this one. I know Ige has the ability to put you out, and I know that he does have great takedown defense. But at the same time, I think Murphy has proven that he can stand with you. He can bang with you. That last fight against Edson Barboza was a banger all the way through. He did take some damage in that fight. So the one thing that I will say in that is, was it too much damage? Did he take too much damage in that fight? And will it carry over a little bit into this fight? That's the one thing that I am questioning in this, just a little bit. But overall, I think that Lerone Murphy is a top quality fighter. I think he's going to be top 5 in the UFC. Ige is the same way, but I think he's a little bit, past it as far as what we're seeing from him. I think that they're both with top level teams, but I think as far as just a little bit of a size advantage there and strength advantage, I am going to side with Lerone Murphy in this one. Again, these fights are all bangers. I think this is an amazing card. It's awesome that it's starting off so early in the morning. We get to wake up with violence and get to going. But I think this is going to be Lerone Murphy again by decision in this one. Can't help but feel that this one's going long. Moving right along, here we are at Magomed Ankalaev taking on Alexander Rakic. This is another good fight, but again, after looking at the tape and going back over it, you look at who Rakic has fought. He's fought high-level competition. Volkan Ozdemir, Anthony Smith is in there. Thiago Santos, Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohashka. You've got top-level competition, but he's also losing to most of the top-level competition. Anthony Smith past his prime. Thiago Santos past his prime when he fought him. These are the matches, even though Jan Blachowicz was a little bit older when he fought, you're still fighting a top level fighter, former champion. So I believe that this one was one of those fights that kind of proves what I'm saying in this a little ways. That when he fights top level competition, no matter necessarily who it is, Anthony Smith is a little bit different story. I think Rakic just has the size advantage on him to begin with. So again, I think that once you step up into that higher level competition, which Ankalaev has proven time and time again that he is, and I do believe that he is going to be working towards that world championship in his next fight against Pereira. So I am going to side with Ankalaev in this match. I don't think it's going to be that close. I think if you want to bet a spread on this, if you go Ankalaev, I think he's going to finish it. The one question mark is everybody knows by now is about the little issue that he possibly has staph infection on his, I believe it was around his knee. It could be. I don't really know. I don't know if it's has been brought out or he's mentioned it or anything like that. I haven't seen anything about it, but I think that he is the type of fighter that I can see working through that type of issue, get it to the ground where he's going to be safe. He's going to control it on the ground, keep it on the ground, and possibly get a sub. I think this is I'm going to call a sub in this one, sub in round number 2. But Ankalaev all the way on this. Next up in this co-main event, this is going to be an amazing fight. We have Robert Whittaker taking on Khamzat Chimaev. We've been waiting on this fight for a while. As you know, Robert Whittaker and Khamzat were scheduled to fight a while back, but then Khamzat had to pull out due to medical illness, and Ikram Aliskerov stepped up. He got KO'd in the first round, uppercut. It was a sweet knockout by Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker is one of my favorite fighters over the years, man. He always puts on a good show. I think this is going to be the fight against Chimaev that can go either way. If it goes into the later rounds, could favor Whittaker, but as much as I love Whittaker and I would love to take him in this fight, I can't get past the fact that I do believe whatever illnesses Khamzat was dealing with that were putting him down and kind of putting him out of commission there for a while, I do think he's gotten past that. I think this is the more fitting weight for him than going down to the 170 weight. So I think he's going to be okay there. And those first couple rounds, when he comes out, he's on a rampage. And I think that that's going to play into this. It is a 5-round fight. So if it goes into the later rounds, this might be your perfect live betting scenario here. Because if it goes in the later rounds, chances are Khamzat has proven that he does gas a little bit. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case anymore. If he does have the medical issues out of the way, he's proven he is a beast in the training room. Training room is obviously going to be different than the regular fight. But here we are. We finally get to see who is going to be the man out of these two. It's going to be a close fight up until it's not, but I think that it's going to be Khamzat Chimaev, and I do think that unfortunately, he's going to knock out Whittaker in this one. I think it's going to be by second round knockout. I'm going to go Khamzat. On to the main event. Here we are. It is finally here. Ilia Topuria taking on Max Holloway. This fight, I cannot wait to see this fight. I love both of these guys, but now take this with a grain of salt because I am a little biased towards this one. I'm one of those people. I like Topuria. I like the flair that he brings. I like the whole. I'm a huge Conor McGregor fan. So how am I not going to like the guy that's calling people out, trying to call his shot, even if it doesn't happen? Which I don't think he's knocking him out in the first round. I don't think he's knocking him out in the first 10 seconds, anything like that. I think he's probably going to come out, point to the ground. I think Max Holloway is going to wave it off, and then they're going to start doing what they do. But I think this has the potential to be a war for as long as it lasts. I am going to side, obviously, with Topuria. He's my guy. I've watched him coming up. I've watched all of his fights. I've seen him from the very beginning when I didn't know really who he was. Impressive then. He's been impressive all the way through to me. If you just watch, you can just see the skills. He's I think he's going to have the speed advantage. We know that he has the youth advantage. He's not going to have the size advantage. He doesn't have the reach, but Max Holloway has been in some absolute wars. He's taken a lot of damage over the years. And I am never going to side with this. This was one of the main things that I pointed out in the match that Topuria had with Volkanovski, was the fact that he was going up and down in weight. And he, coming off the knockout loss to Makhachev, that to me was just a sign, like when you go up and down in weight, and then you're trying to fight back at that featherweight after going up to lightweight, I don't think you have a lot of success in that. And this is the exact same thing that Max Holloway is trying to do, coming from lightweight, where he put on the weight, he said, in a very well done manner in order to get up to that 155. That was what he said he wanted to do, was put on the weight right. So now that you've put on the weight, and now you're just going to suck it all back off, which I thought that he looked really good at the weigh-ins. I thought he looked solid. Thought he still looked big and filled out. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of Max Holloway comes in. We know that he's game for we know that he's game for the fight. So this is going to be one of those most interesting fights of the night. Obviously, the championship match, 5-round banger. But I am going to go with Ilia Topuria. I think this is going to be second or third round knockout. Honestly, I think Max will take. I think he'll take as much as you can dish out. But I think this is just going to be a little bit overwhelming. I think Topuria is going to catch him at some point. If he doesn't catch him, I think this will end up being a unanimous decision fight, kind of like we saw in the was it the second Volkanovski fight? One of the Volkanovski's fights. He pretty much just dominated him from start to finish. It wasn't much of a chance for Holloway in that one. But I think this is going to be another one similar to that, as long as it lasts. But I think Topuria will have the power to take him out. And if he doesn't, I could always see him getting to the ground and ground and pounding him out, or subbing him, grabbing the back when he's trying to avoid getting thrown down on from above. So we'll see how this one plays out. Topuria is my pick. I do have him in some single bets, and I do have him in some parlays. Going to that betting side, I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to go with all my bets on this card yet. Some of these odds have been so close throughout that I've kind of been waiting, and a couple of them on the Topuria side, I did wait a little bit longer than I should have, so kind of kicking myself for that one. But a couple bets that I do like, and I always try and mix and match some of these things from that beginning card. Like I said earlier, I picked Petrosyan to win, but I'm going to go on a little safer side. I said that I thought that fight was going to decision, so I did pick the point spread for Arman Petrosyan at plus 3.5. I teamed that up with Hamzat Chimaev, a money line bet, Jeff Neal money line bet, which is one of the prelim matches over Rafael dos Anjos. And then I went over 2.5 rounds for Lerone Murphy and Dan Ige, over 1.5 rounds for Ibo Aslan and Rafael Cerqueira. And then we went fight to start round 2 with Rebecki and Orobai. So we'll see how that one turns out. Again, not throwing down a bunch of money on a parlay like that. These are just things that, hey, if you hit, add to your bankroll, which that's what it's all about, is building up that bankroll so we have more to bet on the sure shots that we have down the line. So another one that I do feel a little bit more safe with is I went ahead and bet that Ilia Topuria minus 5.5 point spread at minus 135. If he knocks him out, you cover the point spread, or if he just gets a unanimous decision, or there could always be the possibility of just getting that 29-28 through 5 rounds, which would still give you that just barely beating that point spread on that one. And then I do have a 3-pick parlay. This is my long shot parlay. I've got Arman Petrosyan, Ibo Aslan, and Bruno Ferreira in that one. We'll see how that turns out. Another one, I have a fight to be won by split or majority decision in the Rebecki and Orobai fight. And then we've got the big parlay, Ilia Topuria and Ismail Nardiev. Hopefully we'll see how these things roll. If not, hey, better luck next time. But that's the way I'm going with these. I may have some more picks that I might throw up early in the morning. So if you're tuning in, check it out. If not, we'll see how we do. Remember, be all in picks. We ball in.